Elevated Grapes Podcast.
Elevated Grapes Podcast.
With your host, Sethi.
Your host, Sethi.
And Stylist Rashi Bindra.
It's time to get started.
Let's talk fashion, shall we?
Welcome to another Elevated Grapes Podcast. This time's a little bit different. We're actually
Sitting under a tree.
under a tree. Hashtag under a tree, because that's what Rashi likes to do.
No, I do not like to do that. I just recently sat under a tree for a reason. And every time I did, it rained. So I don't know why we're still here.
So why would you do it so many times? Like it kept raining and you were...
I didn't think it was going to rain every single time, every single day that I went.
Did you not look at the clouds?
There was no clouds. It was okay. This is what happened. It was like this.
There was no clouds, but rain just showed up.
Yes!
Yeah, oh my God!
I'm serious!
But
Okay.
just over your tree.
Okay, listen. I would go sit under this tree, okay, and I think about life and think about how I could be a more loving and better person. And it's like nice and sunny outside. And the next thing I know, it starts raining. It happened like 3 times.
Oh, over
Four.
clear skies though.
Yes.
Maybe your thoughts were cloudy and that's why it started to rain.
Maybe that's too.
Right?
But the point is, I'm hoping it does not rain today.
Well, I'm hoping it kind of does, because then it's a trend. Then you know never to sit under a tree.
Say, why are you taking away my tree thing? I
don't
like
know.
sitting under the tree. It's like being one
I'm
with
going to
nature.
encourage you to keep doing it. And we're going to test how many times as a percentage you can
Okay, I do not want to get sick. I'm already sick.
So the problem with sitting also outside right now is that we're dealing with the elements, because there's bugs flying around, there's moss.
Exactly.
So if a bee stings you, you got to act normal because we're being recorded.
Why would a bee sting
I
me?
don't know, because it rains only under your tree. So maybe a bee would sting you.
Maybe the bee stings you instead.
It's possible. It's possible. But I'm going to shriek like a little girl. We actually have a clip of you shrieking,
That's very different.
which I might insert into the podcast right now.
Okay, first of all,
There. So it's already inserted.
I was on a floaty, okay, in a pool party with a friend, and it's not my fault that some people got very excited to see me, having another time, and decided to use the water guns on me. Any normal reaction is to shriek.
Yeah, but your friend didn't shriek.
She did shriek.
She did not. We saw the video. The only shrieker in this situation was you.
I'm louder than she is.
You also had this interesting situation when we were with AJ, and you were explaining how you hold people's faces. What is up with that?
Okay, so
And
first
why are you holding everyone's face like this?
Okay, do not make me demonstrate, okay? Because I will hold your face like that.
I'm okay. And that's why I put the table between us, and the Hulk is here to protect me.
He's not gonna do shit. There you go. No, okay, so there's this model that I've worked with in the past, and as a stylist / creative person, I love seeing certain types of faces, and I start visualizing how they can work,
Right.
into what shoot, what sort of setting. Because not every girl or every guy works for the same thing.
Of course, yeah.
But this model, her cheekbones and her mouth, there's something so editorial about that.
I think you're going to say kissable.
Listen, I am going to behave myself.
Right.
Okay? Yeah. When we are
For this moment.
We are on a podcast.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, from a creative point, her cheekbones and her mouth, there's something so fashionably editorial about it.
So you just have to grab her face.
Like this.
Okay.
Like this.
Yeah, that's what you kept doing over and over, and you're freaking people out.
No, I just
get away
did
from
this. I did this.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. So those who
Slap
are
some,
listening on Spotify and
sense.
not watching on YouTube, I just got my face slapped.
Yeah, I just slapped some sense into him, Happens sometimes.
So we're sitting actually outside today. So if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Tunes or any one of the other streaming sites, if there's a bit of background noise, we apologize. It's because we are sitting outside.
Wait, what is Apple Tunes?
I don't know. Isn't that what you call it?
You mean iTunes?
Oh, so now you're being correct all of a sudden. We have video footage of you calling it Apple Tunes and the trend you started with Apple Tunes.
Apple Tunes, it's a fruit, it's iTunes, kind of works.
Yeah. So what do you think about our last podcast with AJ? And you can be real, because it's not like he's watching us or anything right now.
Hey, I know him for 9 years. It's very different.
So you can be real. So what did you think?
It was good. I
That's it.
wish.
Rashi giving a one-word statement? Never seen that in my life.
Can you stop making me sound like I'm this overly crazy hyper person? with way too many like opinions.
Anybody watching on camera right now can figure that out for themselves. I don't have to state it.
No, I think sometimes just have a very simple opinion about life
Okay,
and
so
about
share
things.
your simple opinion about AJ in our last podcast.
It was good. It was interesting. I wish we touched a bit more on his, publication journey and
Sure.
how he kind of realized why it was fashion photography versus all the other type of things that he wanted to do.
Yeah.
But we did speak for like an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah, and we covered a wide range of topics.
We did. I feel like he's one of those people we would have to bring back for like part 2
Yeah,
or have another photographer. You know what we should do?
2 different photographers.
At the same time.
Yeah.
See?
Absolutely.
There
But
you go.
apparently AJ is going to kick your butt because you don't work exclusively with him and you choose other photographers over him sometimes.
You know how, okay, so this is real talk right now. Do you know how many photographers have asked me to be their go-to stylist or only work with them? And the reason, as much as I love all these guys and I love working with them and I have some of my best work is with all these people, is also because everybody's style is so different that I end up being challenged every time I work with them because we just keep pushing the bar. If I were to work with only one photographer, my style would be the same,
Right.
and I would not be known for.
Gives you a different outlook, different perspective.
And I like to challenge myself too. So like and going back to AJ, as much as he said was, yeah, like Rashi has a tendency to jam pack her day and do like.
Which you do.
I
can
don't.
speak to that too, because there's times where we've done projects and you're like, we're going to do this from 11 till 3, and then from 4 o'clock, I'm like, dude, I can't even travel that quickly.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
But the reason I do this is because I like pushing myself more. I like pushing the people with me a bit more, and I like challenging myself because my belief is, first of all, again, we're not in our 20s. We're not one of those.
Maybe you're not.
Okay, you're not either. Like Tom down there. Says the guy who's like, I cannot travel that fast.
I can't, because there's traffic. I don't control traffic.
I'm in the same boat as you, and I still make it happen.
Okay, buffer time. Go on.
Buffer time, yeah, there you go. Planning. So it's all planning. Well, first of all, I think to our advantage is that one, we are not in our 20s, so we've done the whole like figuring out our life and experimenting and establishing ourselves in our own ways. Once you do that and we reach this point where we're like, this is what we want to do.
Yeah.
I think, I can't speak for you in this though, but I know and sometimes this is where I also screw myself over, is that I set my expectations and my bar very, very high.
Sure. But you have to, I think.
Yes, I have to do that, and I do that for myself because I always feel that I'm catching up to lost time. Because I didn't get to do this until very recently.
Sure.
While there are a lot of people who've been doing this for like years, and they are where they are today, or where I wish I could be today, or I may not feel I am where I want to be, despite everybody telling me I'm at a certain like level. But what happens in this entire little thing in my head, and again, I think that's just that creative side in me, is the people that are with me in this journey. I put those expectations on them as well.
I'm going to Tony Robbins you for a minute, because I think that if you don't do that, let's just say, for example, you're leading a project. Mm-hmm. If you don't set that expectation as high for yourself, you also know your capability and what you think you could do. So you almost have to say, okay, well, I can do better than that, because if you don't even try, you never know if you can. And if you don't do that for the others around you, then it's going to bring you down too.
Which is true, and that's why when I consciously do not voice it out that this is why I'm setting that expectation, because in my head it's like, oh, but this person should know how I am, and this is why that expectation is there.
So it's an assumption you're making.
Again, I'm not perfect, and sometimes
Sure.
I should communicate that, which I don't, or not always, or it's like given that, hey, you know how I am, or you know how I work, like it's just a given. The problem with that, what I've realized is that if I'm putting that expectations on the people around me or on my team members, and I want them to come with me to that level, one, not necessarily they want to do that. Two, even if they want to do that, they may not know how to do that because they're not used to that lifestyle. And for them, like you just said, I jam-pack my day, but for me that's very normal.
Sure.
Right? In fact, for me to have a very we'll just do 2 things and that's it. It's like I'm wasting my time.
Yeah, but then it also goes back to if your expectation is that people should know how you are and how you work. If you're building a team, if there's a team around you that's working with you regularly, it's almost like in the reverse too. You got to also understand them.
I do, and that's,
I'm not putting it back on you. I'm saying because as a person, even me working with you, I got to understand how you work, or with Pat on our projects with Pat, or with Nav and stuff. We got to understand how our whole team works. I'm talking specific to us now, so we can all feed off of each other to make each other better.
100%, and which is why sometimes, when I message you and I'm like, let's do this, let's do that, blah, 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 and you're like, okay, Rashi, calm down.
Right.
No, and that's not because I don't believe or have faith in what you are capable of doing. It's just sometimes I get so excited about what the possibilities are that I sometimes forget that you have a life of your own. You also have other commitments as well, and you have a lifestyle that you've built which was there before I came in the picture.
It's got real personal, real quick.
Well, no, but I think it's actually one of the best topics that we should touch on, for our 10th podcast.
This is number 10.
Yeah. Is that these expectations, right, that we put on each other and on our team building as well, because whether it's our podcast or our style videos or whatever we do, how we work, and that's how I work with other people as well, it does play a role.
But a part of it is what you said, right? If it's you're working with someone for the first time, or the first couple of projects, they may not understand your ways, or vice versa, like my ways, or Pat's ways, or whoever or the team is, because we work so closely together all the time. We sort of do have that understanding. So yes, if you come to me with a million things at one time, I also have an understanding to a degree of how to manage that a little bit too, because now I know to expect it. Right,
Yeah.
so I know how to walk through it with you. So that also at the same time, because you also as a receiver of that, you got to appreciate what the person is doing, because obviously they're coming with good intentions. But at the same token, you got to process it in the way that you're comfortable processing it.
And
so it's understanding yourself in that paradigm, and also the person that you're working with.
Yeah, exactly, and which is why there've been so many times, when you and I, or you, me, and Pat as a team, when we are introduced, or we introduce, each other, we both tell each other, or tell that person that we manage each other, and we manage each other not only in terms of the work that we do, is how we also
interact with each other.
Exactly,
yeah.
And this is what we're doing, and this is our goal, and blah 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 blah. Because we all know I have the tendency to forget that I also have a life and a family balance,
right,
which I'm not the best at balancing my life, because I keep saying we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll do that. I'm gonna move 6 mountains in one day, and that.
How many mountains have you moved most in one day?
I don't know. I think 10.
10 mountains. You live in Toronto. Where do you find a mountain in Toronto?
I live in Markham, first of all.
Yeah, first of all, in Markham.
In the foresty area, okay?
There's zero mountain in Markham.
I think you know
Just
what
because
I
Markham
meant.
begins with an M doesn't mean the word mountain automatically is affiliated. I'm not sure
You know
what's going
what
on
I
in your
mean.
Markham.
You know what I mean. It's like trying to make the impossible happen. I was talking to someone last night. So recently, someone reached out, and they kind of wanted to restart on a project again.
Sure.
And I was like, cool. Given how things have been in the past, I would like to proceed this way if that's
suitable for both parties.
And they were surprisingly very, very open with that, and they were very fine with that. And they sent me
Very fine.
Very fine.
Very fine.
Very fine.
Yeah, that's an odd combination of words.
And they sent me their initial inspiration, and they sent me a bunch, and there was one that I really, really liked.
Sure.
So I sent them a message back, and I was like, I want to do this. The person's like, yeah, but we can't really, there is an area in Ontario, but we're not allowed to go there and shoot. So I'm like, okay, why can't we go to the state? like this area here. And then the person's like, I just laughed when you said that. I'm like, why? I'm like, if plan it properly, blah, 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 can happen.
You can make it happen.
They're like, you do realize this is how much this was cost. I'm like, well, if we do this and we do that, and technically if we do this, it'll cost you half that price.
Right.
And the person's like, well, I'm like, so? There's no harm in asking. The worst that's gonna happen.
You gotta know.
It's
not gonna work.
Exactly.
But you have to explore the option.
Exactly. So in that sense, I said, so come on, it's you and me. Let's go move some mountains. There you go. And now I'm gonna go pass out because I'm really tired and sick and I've been cold. That's
Are
really
you talking to me now? Or are you talking to that person?
No, but like to that person. That's exactly what I said.
That's how like things work out. Like when we did our Union Station shoot, like we didn't know it was gonna work out, and it took us a proposal and a bunch of follow-ups to make that happen. But until we tried, we didn't know.
Actually, a lot of things that you and I have accomplished in the past 8 months,
Give or take, yeah.
like we didn't even realize that we would come this far.
Yeah.
Right? It was an idea,
Absolutely.
and
Over a glass of wine. Well, actually, it was a couple of bottles, but whatever.
sure, let's not say that out loud.
That's okay. We did.
And there were so many different things happening in our lives back then. And now we're sitting under a tree with our 10th podcast and so many offers coming to cover events and you know.
The fashion correspondent side is really interesting because the event correspondent side, because we've done a few on our own accord.
Yeah.
Pushing to get our way in, and that has led to people approaching us and saying, hey, I'm having this opening or I'm having this event. Can you guys come and cover it?
Yeah.
And make one of your videos about it.
Yeah.
Right? And that's pretty cool given that we've done maybe 8 or 9 of them now, or just maybe under 10. I think we're very similar to our podcast range. It's about 10 or so.
Yeah.
And that we're getting that kind of like thing already, like that claim already, like, hey, we want you guys to cover our event.
Exactly. And
there's one coming up actually this week.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, on Thursday.
Yeah.
Thursday for sure. Yeah, and I think that's also partly due to just us being ourselves, I think.
Yeah. It's a bit of not, like, you know, there's no, we're not, like, you know, you and I are very, like, and that's one of the things we discussed first, like, there's no putting on a show, there's no, let's act a certain way, just go there and just talk as if we're sitting like this, talking without anybody being around.
Yeah, and that has landed us in trouble sometimes.
That's okay.
But
it's part of the process. It's part of the journey.
Yeah, journey, process, whatever. Part of everything.
So one of the things we talked about with AJ in our last, and we started to touch on a topic, and I think it was really interesting, and we can expand on it a little bit today. We were talking about sort of the direction that fashion sort of is taking from an advertising perspective.
Right.
Right. You know, it's not just the one look body style that companies, advertisers, products are looking for. They want to make it real. They want to make it relatable, which is a lot of what our first discussion was on how we wanted to approach elevated grapes. It wasn't about styling a guy that has the perfect chiseled body and has, you know, the 6-foot figure and all that kind of stuff. We want to be relatable to, you know, the father sitting at home who doesn't have time to work out, who maybe doesn't have the best diet, but, you know, how does he look best given his current circumstances? Or someone who maybe, no matter what they do, can't change their body style, and it's not, you know, what you see on a magazine or an Instagram photo, but still there's a way to make them look at their best given what, you know, who they are. So let's talk about that a little bit and get into some of the body styles and even to a degree body shaming and how like terrible it is. So
touching back on body shaming a bit, and believe it or not, I'm actually going through that right now because 2-3 years ago, or actually not even 2-3 years ago, even like to last year, I was a bit heavier than I am right now. Not like massively heavy, but I was a good 15 to 20 pounds heavier than I am right now.
Sure.
And right now I'm not that weight. A lot of it is by choice. I decided to go back to the gym and work out and change my lifestyle and get a bit more healthy. What's been happening though is that because every body type is different.
Yes.
I've lost maybe a bit more weight than I have intended to, And what I'm dealing with is like every social setting that I walk in, or every place that I walk in, is like, oh my God, she's too skinny. Is she starving herself? Why is she doing that? Blah 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 blah. When if anybody who knows me, even remotely, knows I love good food. I love good wine. I love enjoying myself. Right.
Right.
So how do you put someone who actually enjoys eating, and then takes that and say from another side is that, well, she's starving herself, or she's like overly dieting, whatever.
It's a serious problem, because on one side there's people who are a bit on the heavier side, and on the other side there's people who are on the skinnier side, but sometimes it's not by choice.
No, it's not. And you know what? When I was heavier,
there's an actual issue on the other side, because you can't gain weight sometimes.
Exactly. And when I was a bit heavier, I was told, you are heavy, no guy's gonna marry you, no guy wants a fat girl. First of all, I was actually told these things, and the fact that I look old, or like I look this, or like I look that, despite having still an overall healthy lifestyle, because I was still working out, and still like overall watching what I was eating.
You've been on both sides of the spectrum.
I've been on both sides of it. Even now, so I still overall, like this summer, I've not been the best at working out, which is fine.
Sure.
But it's summer, and
schedule's also, yeah.
And you know what? If I also believe that if you've been running your body every single day, like from fall and winter, and you've seen that, we've been like, and when we did the cut and our workouts and things like that too, we were very, very disciplined. And I personally believe that if in the summer you let yourself like relax and let go, it's good for your body. It's good for your system as well.
You do things in cycles, like even the cuts, like you got to do it every so often. Even if it's not a weight issue, just to internally cleanse.
Exactly.
Right. It helps you be a healthier person. Like one of the things I was talking about with actually a friend of mine is, talking about the concept of what we're doing, and he said, he goes, my only advice to you is, I love the idea. He goes, my only advice to you is like, make it relatable. He's like, I'm a dad. He's like, I'm busy in my business. He's like, I have 3 kids. I have to manage that. I have a family. I have to manage that. Should I work out? Yeah. Am I going to?
No.
I just don't have the time for it. But he goes, how do I build my wardrobe in a way to suit my lifestyle and my body style, right? So talk a little bit about your thoughts on that, it's not one size fits all.
And you know what? And it shouldn't be that. And and this is where social media has played a positive and a negative role. The positive side is that people are waking up to the fact that not everybody's perfect. There are different body shapes and sizes out there. People are being confident enough to, take that selfie and post it up there. The negative side is that now we want those likes and those clicks and those angles, and if we take one angle where our body looks a little bit slimmer or like thinner, then that's all what we like want to do and see.
Right, and you take same. So the other thing that I've noticed also on that point, talking about Instagram, is that you'll see a specific style, a specific way of dressing, a specific way of conducting your look in your shoot, like even with your own personal selfie camera, whatever way you're shooting it, and that works again because a lot of the people you see in those scenarios are very similar body types, very similar looks. So if you try to create that when you're not that body type, or you try to wear those clothes when you're not that body type, I think that's the influence that bugs me the most, because you're dressing for what you see. You're not dressing for
like who you are.
Who you are.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of people fall short, because you can be a heftier person, or you can be a totally skinny person, or you can be like myself, I'm on the shorter side. You can be an overly tall person, but you can still look good in your body. It's just you have to understand how to dress your body.
And you have to also have
and that takes time and practice.
It takes time, it takes practice. It also takes a bit of self-acceptance.
And awareness.
Yeah, of what looks good on you, what doesn't, and what, like, for example, the way you dress. Let's go back to AJ from last week. The way you dress, he may not be able to dress that way.
Sure.
Right?
We're very similar heights, so that's not a height thing, that's a personality thing.
Exactly.
Right? Understanding each other's personalities.
There you go. So that's what people need to realize. Like I'm tall, for example, and there are a lot of women who are as tall as I am.
Right.
But the way Janice will dress, you'll never see me wearing anything.
You guys again. That's completely different.
Completely different.
Janice was on podcast number 6 or 7.
Yeah, 6 or 7.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, she's beautiful, and I love her, and she has an amazing sense of style. But then we are both tall, we are both slim, but you'll never see me dressing the way she dresses, and vice versa, right? Like, she will not wear that disco ball outfit that I wore, for example.
Right. But again, that you pull that off because of your personality. Right? A lot of people, even with your same look, may not be able to pull it off, or may seem a little bit awkward or shy, or like they feel like they look in a certain way, so they'll be more introverted or look like they're intimidated because they're not comfortable in that outfit. Whereas you, like, your personality is bubbly, it's loud. So
I like that word, loud.
So it just comes, like, you can wear that, and even without speaking, you know that you're a loud person.
What do you mean? What if I'm like the shy, quiet,
But you're not.
I'll give you an example. Like, let me at least finish that.
Oh, sorry.
Like, let's pretend I'm shy and quiet.
Yeah, but again, I think that person would be totally uncomfortable in that outfit, and it would show.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You make fun of me sometimes because I wear, like, very bold, large floral print. But again, I have no problem wearing it and walking out confidently. So,
I know that. I know that.
But some people wouldn't have that comfort with it, but that speaks to my personality.
Or that paisley blazer of yours that I actually really, really liked. See, that suits you.
Sure.
That looks nice on you. Not that stupid red floral that you love to wear.
Which I will always wear. Now I'll wear it in our next podcast just for fun.
Dear God, thanks.
Yeah. So and this goes back to let's sort of touch this, because this goes back to the value in having a stylist, because how you dress, how you present yourself, how you put yourself out in public, no matter what your body type is, is your branding. Every guest we've had has said that your branding is the most important. So sorry, I'm going to backtrack. And a lot of people have an issue or a challenge understanding the value that a stylist brings into their life.
Because
right, so talk to your thoughts about it, because we've had this discussion many times, and you have a very interesting perspective on this. The value in a stylist, not just in a shoot, not just in a project, but on a personal level. Because if you can't on your own figure out how you should dress for your personality, your lifestyle, your body, your day-to-day living, talk about where stylists can fit in and help you to build that part of your branding.
So I think from a personal styling, point of view, is a stylist is not someone who's gonna just come and say, here, wear this, and that's it. What we do is we start understanding who you are. So I have personally styled clients.
Sure, yeah, me too.
Back in the days, and now I've just really focused more on fashion styling, unless I'm really asked to personally style someone. What I like to do is go out for a cup of coffee or a glass of wine. It's whatever they're like comfortable doing, and I want to get to know them. It's almost like you are taking this person out on a date. Get to know them,
absolutely.
Right? You have to get to know them. You have to get to know who they are, and then once you understand their personality, you have to be aware of their insecurities. Like, let's face it, all of us are. We all have insecurities. We all have insecurities. No one's perfect, and no one should be perfect. If not, life gets also very, very boring, and there's no challenge in that. That's the way I see life.
Yeah.
So you get to know this person, get to know who they are, what makes them tick, what doesn't make them tick, and then that's when you have to make them feel comfortable and confident, and take them shopping and make them see the changes. Sometimes it's very gradual changes. Like, I've met people who would not like to wear color at all, so I cannot go to them and say, well, here's you've been wearing black your entire life, here's red.
Yeah.
Not gonna work. You ease them into the blues. You ease them into, even the greens sometimes, or the beiges, or the grays, and then you add pops of color in their life, and then they start getting comfortable. And this works for a guy or for a girl. It's not necessarily only from a female perspective,
for
right?
Sure, absolutely.
So, but at the same time, while you're doing that, you have to be comfortable in who you are and how you present yourself. People have this big not misconception, but more this assumption that a stylist is dressed head to toe in a brand and is super fashionable. Half the time, and you've seen that as well, when we're on set.
Very rarely wear a brand.
No, but same here. Yeah. But you've also
you
seen
just
that.
Wear Canada's finest. On that note, we're going to take a quick pause. Hey guys, we're taking a quick break just to remind you where you can find our podcast online.
You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Tunes.
Apple Music, but you know it, you call it Apple Tunes.
Whatever.
Right. You can also find us on TuneIn, on Google Play, and of course Instagram when we do it the first Tuesday of every month.
And Facebook here and there.
Here and there.
Here and there.
So thanks for tuning in, and now back to our podcast.
So if you're on YouTube, the sponsors were us.
Yes, pretty much.
It was us babbling on the camera again. But if you're on Spotify, then it was an ad of some sort.
There you go.
Yeah. I only keep saying Spotify, but there's so many streaming sites.
Like Apple Tunes?
Like Apple Tunes and iHeartRadio. And
iHeartRadio,
Google,
yeah.
Google Play. Like
Google Play.
We're on a lot of streaming sites.
What's that iThingy as well that we are on?
iTunes?
No, I know iTunes. The other one.
TuneIn?
TuneIn. There you
We're
go.
on there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bunch of we just got onto Castbox recently.
Did you tell me about that?
Yeah. We just got approved for that too. So
Amazing.
yeah, really cool stuff.
Wow,
Sorry.
we're cool.
Yeah, we're not cool. Go on.
Shh, I'm cool.
You're Canada's finest.
There you go, exactly. So and you've seen me when I'm on set. I'm in either shorts or jeans or a black T-shirt or just something very basic. Like there's nothing fancy
Yeah,
about.
you're in work mode.
And that's 99% of my time, right?
Right.
It's very rare that you'll see me all dressed up and looking, as you call it, like a lady.
Yeah, it's very rare. Happens once in a while.
At a red carpet event.
Yeah. So and to that point, so I've had a couple experiences. My journey in styling actually started because I found the value in working with a stylist to help me build the way I dress.
Yeah.
It was a very long time ago. And they walked me through the whole thing, the exploratory, understanding my personality, because I didn't always have a good dressing sense. And I'll be very honest with you.
What do you mean you didn't always have?
Listen, big florals work. Okay, so they kind of walked me through how they feel that I could eventually build my wardrobe, and he said it's going to be a gradual process. He's like, it's not going to happen overnight because you got to be comfortable with it. He goes, it may not even happen, but he goes, just knowing what I know of you and knowing your personality, goes, this dressing style will suit you, and that's how I dress now. It's not because, and that person's not like, I don't like, we're not like, he doesn't style me now. We're still friends. He doesn't style me now, but it's also the introduction into being comfortable and confident. So it was I changed parts of my wardrobe and very gradually, little by little. The second part to that is I've worked with a number of clients, but very recently I got asked to actually style my sister's fiance, which was a really cool experience for me because, again, like totally different body type than what I've worked with in the past. Really, different type of personality and some, because a lot of the guys I style are to somewhat or some degree in the entertainment industry. Like they're out there, they're very bold, they're very like loud.
What's with you and loud?
Like Rashi.
What do you mean?
But this is also like, I style some corporate executives too, but he's not he's in the corporate world, but he's more like sort of behind the scenes.
Right.
He's a bit more on the quiet side, and his body style is a little bit different than I worked with in the past too. So, like you said, it was almost like I had to, like I know him, but I had to get to re-know him.
Yeah.
From a different perspective, because my mind had to think about it from a different perspective. It's not just my sister's fiance who we're hanging out with. It's now I had to get to know him as a client.
Yeah.
Right. So we spent that I built him a custom suit, and before I went and did that, I did like exploratory sessions with him. We just walked around the mall. We just tried on random things. I'm just try this on. Just try this on. He's like, I don't know about that. I'm like, just try it on.
Yeah, just try on.
And just because I needed to understand A, his comfort level, and B, what suits his skin tone, what suits his posture, what suits his look. Like it's like until you have something in front of you, it's almost difficult to see. So part of that exploratory session that you were talking about and getting to know the personality over a coffee, like I was lucky enough that I didn't know his personality a bit, but
overall
his comfort level, like what is he going to be confident now? I know exactly where to take in the next 3 years. I know exactly where to take his wardrobe, but it takes that understanding of them too and their personal comfort level to build that.
And again, right, like from a personal styling perspective, these people are not just clients. You end up becoming your friends.
That's a very close relationship to you, right?
You end up becoming friends. You end up knowing who they are, and kind of, judging them. Not judging them in terms of on that level, but understanding what makes them tick, what doesn't, and what is their comfort zone, and what they will push for, and what they absolutely will not wear or do.
Yeah.
Just like, for example, when there have been times when, you know, I've asked you, this is what I feel like should I wear this or this? You know what I mean? And it's not because I don't know how to dress myself, but because...
Well, sometimes.
Excuse me?
There's been some questionable...
Really? Name one.
Continue on the
Name
conversation.
one.
I have a bad memory.
There you go, exactly.
Terrible memory.
Terrible memory. Yeah. And it's not because I don't know how to dress myself, or I don't know what part of my personality that I will always showcase. Like, even now I'm wearing like shiny shoes, and we all know
You're
like shiny.
shiny shoes.
Something
Your
shiny.
shiny. Your Converse are shiny.
Exactly. Something
there's gotta
shiny.
be a shiny shoe.
Exactly. There has to be something shiny, right? In my thing. But it's not because I don't know how to dress. It's I sometimes know how you will see a certain perspective for a certain event or a certain appointment. And there have been many times you've like sent me a bunch of like pictures, like, what about this, what about that, or I'm wearing this, and I'll be like, yes, I like it, or let's try this with that. And again, it's not because you don't know how to style yourself.
But it's a perspective.
And again, and also we have that, and because we work with each other, we have that understanding of each other.
Yeah,
right?
and that's what we build with our clients too on
Exactly.
the personal styling side. Or
Right.
when we're doing a shoot, you know, like when we did the Union Station shoot, and we had five
guys
in one room, and it was literally like, what about this with that person? What about this with that person? Like, no, not with him. That goes more with him. And we're like right in the minute we have to understand. Okay, that's that person's personality, and that's what's going to.
And that's where it becomes.
Because he's going to be able to carry it.
And but that also becomes very, very different. Like that was still manageable in terms of it's a fashion / lifestyle shoot, so we were able to play a little bit with like personalities and those things, but. And I'm sure at some point you'll do this with me as well, is that when you're doing a purely fashion shoot, which is what like AJ was talking about, and again, I'm just saying him as an example because we just had him recently on our podcast. When we've done photo shoots with each other, I don't know these models.
Right, yeah, we're learning on the spot.
I don't know who they are. But what I know is that this is my client, which is the designer. These are the pieces that I have, and I need to deliver this.
Right.
So I have to work with unknown elements, and that's why I'm picky when I work with certain people, not because I'm as like difficult to work or manage within a team. It's just that I know what I need to deliver
for your client
and who that team fits.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is what you did with Union Station. Like we were picking the models. Like you had a collection of different people, and we went through them, and because we wanted different ethnic backgrounds, we wanted different body shapes, we wanted different looks, different hairstyles, different facial structures. We wanted just so that it showcases people in different walks of life and how you can style it, because it was a summer shoot and in different summer looks.
Exactly. And again, what I liked about that shoot is that you and I, because we have such very different backgrounds when it comes to fashion and styling,
with very different perspectives.
Very, very different.
Yeah.
Like going back to my comment about that model's face, for example, like there have been many times you have shown me a shoot and been like, Rashi, this is nonsense. And I'm like, no.
Right.
It's just the wrong model for this concept.
Yes.
Because if you put her in this concept,
it'll work.
It's gonna work.
I remember those conversations because there's many times I'm like, what the heck is happening in this picture? Like, I don't even understand it. And I'm not like a photo shoot stylist by any means. Like I don't have an eye for that.
But what I like is that you're giving that viewer's perspective.
Yeah, I'm just looking at anything that looks like trash. That's all I remember. I'm like, I don't understand that. But you pointed out from a perspective of someone who has a styling eye for a photo shoot. Be like, sure, but look at it this way. And I'm like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, which is why for like certain shoots, even when we did Pat's music video, for example, I was given with what we were working with, I was very particular about certain shots and certain girls and certain types of looks that I wanted for the vision that he had. Again, not to discredit what you were bringing to the table, but again, your experience for a video was very
totally
different, right? Which is why when I saw the first edit, I'm like, no, I'm not putting my name to this unless we don't change it. Not to take away from anyone's hard work. It's just what the vision was,
Right.
and what our
And
experiences
given our
are.
shots, what we could have had.
Exactly.
We could have, sorry. Yeah. I understand.
And what we both bring to the table is so different,
Of course.
but that's why it works as
Yeah,
well.
no, but that's where that's just part of building, talking about the team thing in the beginning, building that team or working with the team to understand each other's strengths. I wouldn't
Yeah.
say weaknesses because I don't think there's weaknesses, but everybody has a level playing field, but then there's people, like everybody has their own individual strengths. So it's like, well, Rashi can look at this and pinpoint how to bring out the best of that shot, right? Like, and that's you have an expertise in that. Like I don't have that, so I would never even add like my 2 cents because I'm like, I'm not going to add any value by saying anything. Where someone like you who has that expertise can bring that.
Or just give my opinions.
Well, you do that regardless, anyways, but we also know where your opinions matter and where they don't.
Hey. But just going back to your point is that I do believe we also all have weaknesses. It's just a matter of understanding, are we going to play on those weaknesses or are we going to focus on the strengths?
Benefits.
Always try to tell the truth. I take honesty seriously.
What the hell?
Why is your
I have no idea how that happened.
we didn't even say okay Google,
I know, right?
but if I feel like we shouldn't say because it's gonna start mine. Okay, so let's sort of wrap up here. What if you had to talk about sort of body styling and you know being on both sides of the spectrum? What's one piece of advice you'd give to our listeners or our viewers before we close off?
Please, okay, so fuck what the haters say. At the end of the day,
Okay, so that's gonna be a bleep. Bleep.
okay, at the end of the day, your body is
Your temple? Are you gonna go cliche on us?
God no. God no. Your body is the product of what you eat, how you manage your stress, how you work out, and how you take care of it. Sometimes there are situations that are not in your control. It happens to all of us.
Absolutely.
I've you know what? And I will touch on this very, very, very briefly. Over 10 years ago, I suffered an eating disorder.
Right.
And that was very, very hard to overcome. And that was caused by a lot of stress.
Sure.
I did not know how to manage my stress back in the day. Now I'm at a point where it's not necessarily triggered by stress, but I know that stress does play a factor,
Sure.
which is why I'm working on things in my life for me to manage it. So whichever body shape and style you are, whether you are curvy, whether you're not curvy, whether you're short, whether you're tall, you need to understand your body first. Because some people can put on weight like this. Some people drop weight very fast. Some people can work out their upper body like quickly. Some it's their lower body, right?
Yeah.
Once you understand that and realize you're not in a competition with the rest of the world, you're good to go. No matter what's going on in your life, you can manage it, and then you get the confidence to dress better. Like some of my red carpet outfits, which you have self been like, damn, you look like a girl.
Yes.
I would never have the confidence to like wear that even 9 months ago.
Right.
Right. But that confidence came because I started understanding what makes me tick. Not fully understanding it, but doing my best to understand my body, what works for me, what doesn't, and then how to make that happen. And I apply that in my clothing as well, right? And I'm sure it's the same thing for you.
Yeah. So for me, like the only thing I can suggest is, and I'm gonna go Tony Robbins for a second, but
What's up, you and Tony Robbins today?
well, he's like the positive guy. I don't know.
Dear God.
That's the name I you associate with that.
Think of Jay Shetty. There you go. I love him.
He's awesome. Yes.
There you go.
You put me on his podcast. Thank you for that. So for me, it's self-awareness. It's understanding, like you said. Part of it is understanding who you are, what your personality is like. Everybody's body shape is different, and understanding what your comfort level is in how you dress.
Right.
Because to me, once you understand that and you're able to understand your comfort zone, you will automatically be more confident. Mm-hmm. Because then you'll walk around in an outfit or have a wardrobe that you can be confident in because you know, okay, this is my body style, but I look good in these clothes.
Yeah.
Right? Because anybody in any body shape can look good. I don't think that's an issue. It's how you understand your day-to-day, your personality, your body style to dress to that appropriately, and then walk out with confidence. Because once you're comfortable, you're automatically going to be confident. Because if you're wearing something that you're not comfortable in, or you like, a little bit of your energy shows that right away. You can tell, okay, this person is insecure with what they're doing or who they are right now.
Exactly.
You could see it like within a second.
Yep.
The energy is there. So just take that time, and and not even from like a styling perspective or a consultant perspective. Like if you know someone that has a bit of an expertise in that or has somewhat of an understanding of it, just talk to them about it, right? Because especially if it's someone that you're close to, because they're not gonna they're gonna be there as a friend to you. They're gonna help you through that, right? That's what I would think at least, or how I would approach it if someone called me. Like, dude, it's not. I'm not looking at everybody as a client, but if it's a friend and they're like, hey, like I need some help with this, cool, let's talk. Like, if we can help each other, because I'm sure there's somewhere down the line they're gonna help me with something, like everyone has their area of expertise. So that's my own thing. It's just self-awareness is everything.
Cool.
No opinions?
I don't always have to have an opinion.
You don't always have to have one, but you always do have one.
Okay, so in closing statement, okay, and this is not a negative opinion. Basically, just accept yourself for who you are.
Yeah.
Good or bad, this is who you are. Accept it, and just work towards having that inner confidence. That gives you that glow and that sexiness, whether you're a guy or a girl.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So once again, thank you for listening. Rashi's final words, as we always end off with. And if you are watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, please. If you like what you hear on one of the streaming sites, again,
Like Apple Tunes.
Yeah, and Spotify, because apparently that's the only streaming site that we know about. Whatever it is, iHeartRadio, whatever, all of them. Just and if any feedback you like for us, give us feedback too, right? Because we want to know what you want to hear. We want to know if you like topics, if you don't like topics, if you like a specific guest, we can have them back. If you want a topic for us to discuss, let us know. But we always appreciate people listening and subscribing.
Yes, and that weird noise right now.
Yeah, because we're outside right now. We explained that we're going to deal with the elements.
Yes, we are. And if you guys ever plan to sit under a tree and contemplate your life, like I've done, just make sure it doesn't rain.
Yeah, make sure your mind is not cloudy. Bye. Hey guys, thank you for watching that podcast or that video. If you like what you hear and you want to hear more of us and see some of our behind the scenes stuff, subscribe below.
Yes, hit that little red button thingy that's over there and hit subscribe and keep following us for a lot more cool fun stuff.
Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you soon.